I I thought it was definitely a new experience. I I definitely learned we all kind of had to listen to each other a lot more than we do with like other pieces, and there was a lot of counting and subdividing too, but overall it was pretty fun, and I enjoyed it a lot. Um,
I think working with the composer actively while they can modify the piece, and it makes it actually probably more difficult because it hasn't been performed and rehearsed over and over. It was actually a work in progress. So working on the piece, I think it was probably it took more effort because it had to be edited. We had to see what worked and what didn't. It was interesting. It was fun too.
Adding on to that, like you sort of like decided what sounded good, like especially in the percussion section. Like I know we made a couple changes with some of the parts to like make it fit and sound more clean, sort of.
And it was kind of a different experience because most of the time in band, when something is changed, it's for how the conductor wants it. But since we have the composer here, we can make the piece sound like it was originally supposed to sound, and that's kind of like something that we've never done before. So.
Yeah, I think it was really collaborative. We had a lot of say in what we wanted it to sound like ourselves instead of just the conductor working with the composer. We had to say what we wanted to.
Adding on to Will and Alex and Owen, they all touched on about modifying the piece and how the composer is actually here, and maybe we can change some stuff or switch stuff. I don't know. It's cool.
Oh, yeah. How did I become a composer? Well, I started out thinking I was going to be a flute player when I was in college, but I got a performance injury. So I had all this pain and stuff in my hands, and I was misdiagnosed and made sort of incurable, so I couldn't play anymore. And I thought, well, I either want to do music theory and study music by living composers, or I want to do music history and study music by living composers. And all this time I was composing, and my friends said to me, why don't you just be a composer? And I was like, no, I'm going to do these other things. And then as I was composing a piece for my theory class, I just thought, no, I really like doing this. Maybe I could try this. And luckily for me, the chair of the composition department, when I went and met with him, was very welcoming and supportive and said, yeah, come on and join the composition department. So I did that, and I'm really glad I did. It was hard at the time, but in retrospect, I think I like composing better than I liked playing the flute, and I would never have become a composer if I could have stayed a flutist. So I think it turned out for the best.
How are you inspired by other composers and other music that you've seen to write the way that you did for pop?
Well, every time I write a piece, even if it's for an instrument or a group that I've written for before, and in this case, I certainly had not written for band before and not for grade 8 band before, but anytime I do that, I like to pretend that I've never done it before, even if I have. And I look at repertoire for that instrument or that group, and I study it, and I try to understand what makes it work, what I think I like about it, what I don't like about it. So I looked at other BandQuest pieces out there, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever done them, but they're really cool pieces that are in the same series that commissioned this piece. And so Laura Kreider at the American Composers Forum, she gave me some scores and recordings for those so I could study those and listen to them. And Mrs. Oakley also gave me a collection of scores of pieces that she had played either with you guys or with other grade 8 bands. So I studied those, and I tried to understand what made them tick, and I used them as a guide. And it was helpful to me to have both groups, because the pieces that she gave me were orchestrated in a way in which everybody was playing almost all the time. And I teach orchestration, and usually the first thing you tell an orchestration student is, don't have everybody play all the time, because you can't have any different colors. You can't play around with stuff if you do that. And when I looked at the BandQuest pieces, they did not have everybody playing all the time. They had some really beautiful orchestration where different colors were brought out of the band at different times. So I decided to go with that. And so that's why there are parts in rehearsals where I'm sure you guys are frustrated because you're not playing and other people are playing, which is why the other set of pieces everyone is playing all the time to keep you from getting bored. But I decided to just take that risk of following the other BandQuest composers and trying to help you guys make a good sound and bring out interesting instrumental colors. So does that give you a little bit of a sense? But certainly both categories of pieces I thought were really well written, and I tried to learn everything I could from them, even though I don't know that my piece sounds like any of the other pieces.